We are in the process of doing a forensic analysis of a restoration company. And we started with the initial interview with the owner. That seemed to be okay. He mentioned some issues and stuff, and we started directly into the financials. And as we're looking into the financials, I remember reading in my notes that a number of years I suggested that the owner implement a PO system, a purchase order system for the company. And I asked him about it, and he said, yeah, he's implemented it. And most of the invoices have a purchase order number. And I said, great. Thank you for taking the advice. So anyways, I'm looking at the financials. My team are looking at the financials, and I noticed some of the invoices don't have a corresponding PO number to it. So I said, okay, let's focus on that first, because if anything raises a red flag, you follow the red flags first, right? And we kept seeing the same company for special services, or and it was always very vague, special services. And we said, and I asked the bookkeeper, okay, find out how many invoices are being paid to this company, and why is it always they don't have, a purchase order number? This is very strange. So I asked the bookkeeper to do, go through the whole list, go back a number of years, and count how many times that company was paid without a PO. And I thought, okay, I want to have some numbers before I go to the owner with this. And I said, I'm going to continue with the employee interviews. So I'm in an interview, and I purposely asked that I'm doing interviews with Zoom. So I asked to be put in a corner so I could see the office as I'm interviewing people. All of a sudden, about half an hour later, I see the bookkeeper walking over to the owner's office. And I thought, okay, that's kind of strange. And at that point, I asked the employee that I was interviewing at that point, I said, I need to be in that meeting. Please carry this laptop. I know it sounds crazy. Carry this laptop into the owner's office. Knock on the door and say, Leo would like to be part of this meeting. So he did that. And he just turns me to the owner, and I just waved. And I said, I want to be part of that meeting. And he says, come on in. So the employee brought me in. All of a sudden, the bookkeeper says, please don't do this, and walked out of the room. And I said, don't do what? What are we talking about? And the owner says, well, it has to do with what you asked her to investigate, that company that has no POs. And I go, okay, then why did she come to you and not back to me? And she goes, well, don't do this, is what she said. And I thought, okay, what did we uncover here? What is it that I don't know that I don't know? So now I'm talking to the owner, and I asked the employee to leave the room, politely leave the room. And now I'm talking to the owner, and again, what's going on? What is it that I don't know? And by the way, how many invoices, what's the total invoices paid to this company without a PO? Do you think this is kind of strange? And he goes, yeah, definitely strange. And why is it everything over $100 has a PO, and even invoices under $100 should still have a PO, but they generally come out of petty cash? And he felt that was easier that way. And I said, okay, that's no big deal. But why this company never has a PO? Why is that the case? And who is authorizing this? Well, the bookkeeper. Okay. So who is this company, and what services are they performing? Well, that's just it. I don't know. It just says special services. And I said, okay, well, is this something we need to investigate further? And why is the bookkeeper not investigating further? She just asked me not to do this. And I said, okay, are you going to do it? And he goes, well, I don't think I should. And I said, okay, who is this bookkeeper? Well, I should have told you she's a family member. She's one of the nieces. Okay, do you smell something here? I said. And I said, well, yeah, there's probably something here. And then I said, well, how much have we paid to this company? And he says, I don't know. but probably over 100 grand so far. So what's the next step? And I just waited because I was hoping he was going to say, well, I'm calling the police. He didn't say that. And I said, well, should we be calling the police? And he goes, well, I need to think about this. Because this affects more than just the bookkeeper, who is my niece in this case, because this affects the whole family. And I said, this is public. People know what's going on here. And if you give certain privileges to family members, that's going to set an ugly precedent. And he goes, yeah, I know, but I can't do this to a family member. And I said, well, we've got to do something. Either she offers to pay this money back, makes installments, does something. We cannot just close a blind eye to this because this is really an ugly precedent. And he really wanted to get off Zoom. Obviously, this was an uncomfortable conversation for him. But this is within hours of being in the building. Hours. So I'm wondering what other rotten wood is in this company and what else is being hidden. One lesson that I've learned, I'm always suspicious, and I think that's why the owner never told me that the bookkeeper was actually a family member. Because whenever there's a family member that's responsible for financial stuff, there's always a lot of leeway. There's a lot of trust because it's a family member. You'd be surprised how many times we've set up cameras to catch a family member stealing and never prosecuted. I mean, I think that's why family members know this. Oh, he would never prosecute. Even if I got caught, he would never prosecute. And that's why they're able to get away with this, because they know. So if you have a family member who's doing your bookkeeping, your accounting, pay special attention because you're giving them a lot of leeway. And this is what can happen, right? So this is, one company. Are there other companies, right? Are there other companies that are getting sweetheart deals, right? When you put too much responsibility without oversight on a certain department, this is the type of corruption that can happen. So when was the last time you had an outsider's perspective into your business? Type yes below if you'd like some help or advice, because chances are, this is not all that uncommon. Type yes below. We'll talk soon.